Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. GDG94, back with another reaction video. Today we finna react to a Dave Chappelle classic. This is Half Baked with the homegirl for the nostalgia. She was doing her. This was supposed to be for her 420 thingamajig. I don't know why she just didn't put How High out on Saturday and then just didn't put that out, didn't put this out on Sunday. Considering the fact that last week was 420, that would have made more sense than to just make us wait. I mean, I guess she probably, I don't know. She let her do her own thing. It's her channel. She can do whatever the fuck she want to do. But anyways, though, without further ado, man, let's get right into it, man. It's for the nostalgia, Half Baked. Let's get right into it.
Operator with an emergency breakthrough from your sister. Samson and Sheila. Mama failed. Shut up.
Now you don't want me to get ugly.
No, sir.
This movie is under Universal. As I've said before, NBC loves to push their block button, so there will be limited scenes and a few filters to avoid copyright issues. This movie is my shit. Honestly, I used to watch this movie back to back during the summer of '98, and this movie was not kid friendly at all. A lot of these movies weren't kid friendly, but we knew better than to try anything they were doing, especially if you had an old school parent who wasn't one of your little friends. But anyway, this was another lettuce themed movie, but unlike most of them, this one has aged really well and hasn't gotten corny over time, and we should expect that, being that Dave Chappelle had a hand in this. If you haven't seen this movie before, please add this to your comfort movie list, because this was it. With that being said, I noticed a few things while watching this film, and it's time to talk about it. But before we do, it's time to recap, so let's get into it. The movie starts off with us seeing a younger version of Thurgood and his buddies, Brian, Scarface, and Kenny, sneaking to smoke some lettuce for the first time. They weren't impressed at first. They thought they weren't high because they didn't feel anything. But as soon as they made it to the store, their munchies and delusions proved that they were in fact high as hell. We fast forward to present day. Thurgood is a janitor at a pharmaceutical company. Scarface works at a local burger joint. Kenny is a kindergarten teacher, and Brian works at a record store. He's high all the time. Thurgood also gives us a quick lesson on where to find good lettuce in New York. You could go to the bodegas, but you would have to go through extreme measures to prove you were cool to receive the goods. You could go to the Jamaicans that hung out in the park, but half the time their lettuce wasn't really lettuce, and nobody had time to take those type of chances. But if you were willing to splurge, you could call up Samson Simpson and get it delivered to your home. Consider it DoorDash for lettuce. This would never work today because the amount of orders not received would take DoorDash under. I'm sure of it. But the guys choose option number 3 and start their session. The guys have different tools, all with different names. Their tool of choice this evening was Billy Bong Thornton. Honestly, as high as Brian is already, you would think he's reached his max, but I guess not.
No.
Shortly after, the guys get the munchies and send Kenny out to the store to get their long list of goodies. A little while later, Kenny had gotten the goods and leaves out of the store. Instead of taking his high ass home, he feeds the cop horse officer, whatever they call him, child, and he doesn't feed the horse a little snack. No, he feeds the horse all of what he just bought. The horse topples over, not because he was full, but because the horse was a damn diabetic. Poor horse had the sugars. Now, Kenny got to do time for his unintentional crime. They throw him in jail expeditiously. Back at the crib, the guys are just now starting to get worried about Kenny. While they were sleeping, Kenny called, and their roommate, the guy on the couch who does nothing but sleep, took a message and gave it to the guys. They go visit Kenny in jail, and they didn't take it seriously as they should have. Kenny is spooked, as he should be. His bail is $1 million, and the guys vow to come up with the money to get Kenny out of jail. Before they leave, they try to tell Kenny to be strong and work on his toughness.
Yes, show me a mean face, Kenny.
They're gonna kill him in there, yo.
Child, he's a goner. But as the guys are leaving, Thurgood runs into Mary Jane, his future love interest. Mary Jane was there to visit her father, who was a drug dealer. Thurgood tries to make a joke, acting like it was cool to have a dealer as a dad, but Mary Jane didn't quite agree to that, causing Thurgood to take another route and agree with her. They talked for a little, and Mary Jane must have felt cool with their conversation and trusted him enough to offer him and his boys a ride back to the city. As she drops them off at Thurgood's job and the guys act like they're asleep in the back seat, he asks Mary Jane out for ice cream, and the guys damn near kill his vibe, but he eventually gives her his number. While Thurgood is at work, one of the scientists asks him to get a prescription from the lab. As he gets closer to the lab, he swears he smells lettuce, but he thinks nothing of it, until he receives the prescription that the scientist sent him to get, and he damn near lost his mind, acting like it was an over-the-counter drug dealer or something. I really want to know what this scientist was thinking, having this janitor that he doesn't know to go and get a brick of lettuce, and then for this lady to give it to him despite his reaction. Just fire everybody at this point.
Pretty much.
But he makes it back to the scientist and barely wants to hand it over, but he does. And to thank him, the scientist gives him a little off the top. Thurgood makes it home after work and hangs with the guys. The guys are still upset about Kenny, but not upset enough to not smoke some lettuce. Scarface reached for Billy Bonk Thornton, but since Kenny can't participate, they opt for Wesley Pipes. As they smoke their lettuce, even the guy on the couch gets in on the fun, in between his endless slumber. Like seriously, how much sleep can you need? They realize that this was some really good lettuce. They get lifted, literally, and take a trip around the city, even visiting Kenny in jail. He was still going through it. Polar Tink Tink. But it's here where they get the bright idea to sell lettuce to get the money to bail out Kenny, and not just any lettuce. The lettuce that Thurgood got from his job. Thurgood was against it at first, even took the time to think about other ways to get the money needed to free Kenny, but they still came to the same conclusion of selling the lettuce from Thurgood's job. So the next day, Thurgood got some forms from his job, forged the scientist's signature, and got the lettuce. The guys made samples to pass around with their business cards so people could contact them and buy the lettuce. They called their newly formed company Mr. Nice Guy in honor of Kenny. Meanwhile, Kenny was trying to protect his fruit cocktail from this guy, Nasty Nate. Literally, he needed his nutrition, okay? And he knew if he gave it to this guy today, he would expect it again tomorrow. But he's protected by this guy for now. The guys visit Kenny and he tells them about Nate and how he needs to get out of jail ASAP. The guys tell him about their plan to sell lettuce to make his bail, and Kenny rushes them off to do what they need to do because he is not trying to be Nate's boo. So the guys hit the streets and give out the samples to any and everybody. Now, lettuce was not legal then, so the fact that they are just giving it out like this is wild. But it's safe to say that the people loved it. The next day, the guys are waiting by the phone, waiting for customers to call. Only Mary Jane calls though, and she and Thurgood agreed to meet up for ice cream later that day. While Thurgood was super excited about meeting up with Mary Jane, it could not have happened at a worser time because he was broke with only $8 to his name. To make this $8 stretch, he suggests they walk to their destination. Everything was going well until Mary Jane got hungry and Thurgood suggested they get hot dogs. The hot dog and drink knocked down his total to $4.50. And since they had already done so much walking, Mary Jane suggested that they get a cab and head to an ice cream place that she liked. The cab ride knocks his total all the way down to 25 cents. When they get to the ice cream place, they spot this homeless guy, and Thurgood takes money from his cup, which brings his total back up to $3.43 with his disrespectful ass. As they eat ice cream, Mary Jane brings up how much she misses her dad, but she believes he deserves to be in jail. Thurgood learns her dad got put away for selling lettuce, and Mary Jane is against lettuce, calling it a gateway drug. Now, Thurgood has to hide his love of lettuce and his side business since Mary Jane made him swear that he doesn't do lettuce. The date goes good, so good that they Well,
Yeah.
it's been a minute since we've used this meme. I've missed it so much. Anyway, Thurgood and Mary Jane were official. The next day, the phone was jumping and they started delivering around the city to their very eccentric clientele. Business was going so well that Scarface quit his job.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
You're cool. Fuck you, I'm out.
Brian was fired and somehow convinced his coworker Jane to quit and work for them. Mr. Nice Guy was blowing up, even stealing customers from Samson. Customers like this guy, Sir Smoke-A-Lot.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy. I'm impotent, man. Get away from me, bitch.
Anyway, things were still going well with Thurgood and Mary Jane. Again, they...
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kenny is still locked up, fighting for his wholesomeness. His protector steps in one more again to protect him from Nasty Nate, and it's an all-out brawl in the shower. Tell me why Brian and Scarface are forgetting the plan to bail Kenny out. Scarface bought a dog and doghouse for $250, and Brian bought a patch that contains Jerry Garcia, the person, for $400. And then they got the bright idea to get the dog high. Child, their letters sent that dog soaring. Literally. Thurgood teaches us about the different type of smokers. There's the I'm only creative when I smoke smoker. She was weird. There's the MacGyver smoker. He could make a whole lot of something out of nothing. Then you got the typical pothead, basically serial lettuce smokers, like them. Last, you have the avid smokers, and ironically, Mary Jane falls under this title. Mary Jane calls the number on the back of a Mr. Nice Guy's business card after realizing it was Thurgood's number and confronts him, and breaks up with him. Later, as the crew is watching TV, they get a surprise when Sir Smoke-A-Lot makes an impromptu commercial about Mr. Nice Guy, which gets Samson's attention, and he asks the girls to go get the crew. Meanwhile, Kenny's protector gets out in 11 days, and Nasty Nate is counting down the days, baby. Kenny calls the guys to tell them to hurry the hell up, and Samson gets a hold of Scarface. Thurgood tries to get back with Mary Jane, convincing her that he will quit smoking and become a changed man for her. After Scarface leaves Samson's, he and Thurgood arrive home to find that Samson has raided their home and unalived the dog.
Damn.
Now, dude on the couch been sleeping this whole time. He didn't hear none of this happen. Again, how much sleep can you possibly need? He has to have bed sores at this point. Sometime later, the guys are at home when they get a call from Samson, and Thurgood tried to play games. Samson wasn't going for it though.
Samson and Sheila. Mama felt. Shut up, bitch.
They have to meet up with Samson tomorrow. Oh, and Thurgood had to pretend to be Jamaican since Scarface told Samson that Mr. Nice Guy was Jamaican. Samson saw right through the BS though, and as soon as he pulled A14 out, the fake accent went ghost. Now, to make all of these problems go away, Samson demands $20,000 a week or their little business and their lives are good as gone. As the guys are sulking at home, the guy on the couch gets up to relieve himself, to the shock of everyone, and also gives them the not so bright idea to rob the lab, Thurgood's job, for more weed. And they actually do it and get caught. Doesn't this getup look familiar to you? To prevent getting locked up like their boy Kenny, they agreed to work with the cops to set up Samson. And just like the previous plan, this goes bad when the cops send them in there to get Samson to confess to selling drugs. And they are too busy joking and getting high to hear their safe word, abracadabra. This forces them to defend themselves against Samson's girls and him. While they were doing good at first, eventually they needed some additional help, which caused Brian to summon Jerry Garcia out of his pouch. And it actually worked. It wasn't until Samson and his girls were handled that the cops showed up, and finally, the guys were able to free Kenny and save him from Nasty Nate. And Thurgood meets up with Mary Jane to make a final promise to stop smoking and selling lettuce. Something tells me he won't keep that promise though. But that's the end of the movie. And here are my final thoughts. After all these years, I still love this movie, and it's still just as hilarious. This movie is only an hour and 18 minutes long, but it doesn't feel short at all. Let's be honest, this is such an unrealistic storyline. First of all, Samson was selling lettuce through a discreet delivery service, while the guys were dropping off business cards in random places, giving away samples to any and everybody on the street. And back then, lettuce wasn't legal, so this business would have folded pretty quickly. Sir Smoke-A-Lot advertising them on a rap song, like how they didn't have the cops knocking on their door in under a day, I don't know. I have to admire how down they were for Kenny and how Thurgood put his job on the line, and the other guys quit their jobs to try and make the most money they could to free Kenny and save him from Nasty Nate. Aside from selling lettuce, how Thurgood didn't get separate charges from robbing his job, forging signatures and all that, unless setting up Samson erased all that, but still, dude is going to have a hard time finding another job. And as for the guy on the couch, if all he's doing is sleeping, how is he paying rent? Child, he will have to go. One more thing I just thought about that I would like to mention is that this guy, I'm scared to butcher his name so I won't say it, played Huck on Scandal. Can we mention the range? Huck was psychotic, but that was my boy. If you came in your house and saw dude sitting cozy in a chair waiting for you, you messed up bad. Real bad. And the fact that he was never nominated for an Emmy for that role, disrespectful. And we are definitely going to talk about Scandal soon because my perspective on this show has changed completely. But okay, I'm done. That's it. Let's end the video. But anyway, that's it for this movie. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. All that good shit. Yeah. Wait, so, yeah, man, Half Baked, man. I wouldn't say this is a classic, because I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't a big fan of this movie. This movie is solely for if you smoke weed on the daily. I'm not an avid weed smoker like that. In my younger years, I was. In high school, I was. After high school, nah. I stopped smoking weed a long time ago. I smoke it on occasions. I only smoke it when I'm around females. If females gonna light that shit up and spark that shit up, you know what I'm saying? I'm down to have a little smoke session. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna fuck the mood up and fuck the vibe up. I'm gonna smoke the blunt with you, smoke the joint with you, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem smoking some weed with my with the females, but with the dudes, it's a little different, man. I'm not. I can say, nah, I'm good, man. I don't want to smoke. Y'all can have that. You know what I'm saying? I'm that type of person. I smoke with the females and the females only. No offense, but I like smoking with the females. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I appreciate y'all, man, for the big 3K. I'm supposed to make a video about that sometime in the near future, just not right now. But anyways, though, that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I will see you all in the next video. Kids, don't do drugs. And if you're an adult and you do drugs, your life.